This is what we don't want. When this starts going to seed, this seed begins to come off and it blows off in the wind. 10 to 20,000 seeds spreads. And all of a sudden, before you know it, it takes over your whole field. Hey folks, it's Brian here, the land guy, and we're not going to be operating equipment today, but we are going to be helping a landowner. And this is a service that I normally don't do, but I really feel bad and I feel like this gentleman needs some help. He actually just recently had knee replacement surgery, and as we was speaking this past week, he says, Brian, do you have any time available to where you can help me with some musk thistle? Now, if you know anything about thistle, they will actually overtake someone's property if they're not controlled. And that's what this guy is worried about. He said these things are going to be going to seed. And he said, I've not been able to get down there and take care of it. He said, can you take care of it for me? He said, I'll buy your fuel, I'll buy your spray, whatever. And I said, sir, let me see what I can get worked out and get this taken care of. So I got a little four-wheeler here behind me. This is my personal four-wheeler. It's a Yamaha 660 Grizzly. It's a 2006 model. It's actually a pretty clean little four-wheeler, but you know, I can't have a very big spray tank on the back. So I've got a 16-gallon spray tank. I've got some 2,4-D mixed up, some chemical. We're going to be doing this chemical application today to try to get these thistles eradicated. Now, if you know much about thistles, they are invasive in our area, and they're not native to our area. And it's the landowner's responsibility to get these things taken care of because they're so invasive. But anyway, yeah, I'd love the opportunity to have a UTV or a side-by-side, especially I can put a bigger spray tank on the back, but you know, I don't have that. Maybe someday I'll be able to get some sponsored equipment such as a side-by-side, especially the land guy going out and looking at the land. My poor truck here, I take this into some pretty hairy places and it does fine, but I don't want the thing to get all beat up. So if I had a side-by-side or UTV or even one of those Mahindra Roxers like Brock has, boy, I would be uptown, wouldn't I? So one of the fields that we're going to be taking care of is up here on the right. All right, here is my first client. Let's go ahead and get my wand here undone. Get this thing going. And I've got it hooked up to the battery and it's got a little switch right here. Turn that dude on. There we go. All right, well, let's go ahead and get drove around. Oh, look at there, there's some here. They're not headed out here on these, but I think I seen some earlier that was already headed out. And they get thick. Goodness. I need to, there we go. So this spray will kill these thistles and any weeds. I also use this for hemlock and it does a pretty good job. This might be a long day. This is just one field of 3 fields that we've got to do. These thistles are very easy to spot. They kind of stick out like a sore thumb because they've got needles on them. And you know, believe it or not, people forage these thistles and they can eat them. I just don't know if I'd want to do that, but now here's one that's already headed out. And we're going to get this thing sprayed up. But once it gets to this stage here, then it starts going to seed. And within this plant, there are 10 to 20,000 seeds that will spread. It's crazy. Cows will not eat these either. There's actually no livestock that I know of. Even a goat will not even eat a thistle. Kind of hard to know when to start and when to stop. This field has actually a lot more than I was thinking. I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of go back and forth here as I work my way to the south, because I'm not going to be able to tell which ones I've got and which ones I haven't because of the large amount of them. Well, do you all remember if I got these or not? It's going to be hard to tell. The only way you can really truly tell what you sprayed and what you didn't is come back in a couple, 3 days. These things will be wilted over on the ones that you've got sprayed, and then you can respray what you might have missed. So see these small ones right here? They begin in a rosette phase in the early spring, and that's how they start out. A lot of landowners will go and take a hoe and hoe them out of the ground when they're about that small. In fact, I think this landowner was doing some of that back in March, but he was not able to get his property covered because of the amount of acres he has. But usually, that's the best time to do it, is in the spring. But then they get to this stage here and they're really hard to take care of. A lot of people will mechanically take care of them either with a brush hog at this stage before they go to seed. It's another option. When they're that small, it's hard to get them with a brush hog. But when they're up like that, you can actually do it. Wow, I cannot get over how many is down here. I guess if they spread that many seed once they bloom, I can see why this field's got quite a few. Boy, it'd be better if I had a steering wheel. You almost got to have two hands on this handlebar to get these things turned. All right, so I just got done finishing this tank, and it got to the point where it wasn't spraying anymore on that field over there. Now what I need to do is try to figure out where am I going to get water to put in this tank. There's a dry creek branch here. I had water running through it supposedly, but it looks like it's kind of dried up. But I did bring a bucket, and since that is a 16-gallon, I'm going to redneck it and scoop up water to pour in there. I was planning on from this creek branch, but if not, I might have to go find a pond, which is very doable. All right, let's go over here and see if there's any water. Yeah, that looks dry. I thought there was some puddles of water. Yeah, I don't know if that looks very good. Yeah, it's not going to be very deep enough to get this bucket filled. I think what I'm going to have to do is, I know where there's a pond at up on the hill, and I think we're just going to have to fill that up with pond water. Hopefully it's somewhat clean. I know the sprayer has filters in it, but I don't really want to put a bunch of scum in there. But that's not as clean as I was hoping for. Let's take a look at it. I got more thistle over here. Look at all that. Never-ending job. All right, let me see here. Ah, that's way too dirty. That's gonna plug my filter up in no time. Okay. Let me see. I think there might be another pond somewhere else. Let me see if it's cleaner. All right, I think I found some decent pond water. This is kind of a spring-fed pond here. I think I'll be all right. Let me get this opened up here. We'll put us about 15-gallon in here, and then we'll mix up some spray and get rolling. Yeah, this looks a lot better. That's not too bad. All right, I'm going to leave my bucket here. That's what I'm going to use when I come back later to fill. Now let's go ahead and get our spray. Shucks, I left my gloves in the truck. anytime you mess with this stuff, you want to make sure you wear PPE. I'll try to not get it on any of my fingers, but if I do, I can get down here and get them washed off really quick. And this is a 16-gallon sprayer, so I'm going to estimate about so that is an 8-ounce. So that there will cover, it's 4 gallon of water. You will do. This will cover 8 gallon of water. This will cover 12 gallon of water. Let's just go ahead and make it just a hair rich. We'll go ahead and mix this up for 16 gallon of water. Didn't even get none on my finger. It's a good deal. I don't recommend that though, using it that way, but the little rack here works out pretty handy. Put my cup down in there. Hope that you're enjoying this. It's just part of being a helping hand to people when they're in need. And it just worked out that I've got some openings this week. Got to also do some mowing for this landowner in his yard with him not able to do that. We're going to plan on doing that later in the week. All right, let's go get some more thistle. I guess before I get spraying, I need to put on some sun protection. I failed to do that earlier. Just put on the back of my neck and my face, because I've had issues with some pre-cancer spots on my face. Get my ears and neck. Maybe I'll fire up the drone here. Need to take that dude with me though. There, here we go. Be nice to have a side by side. But I'm gonna make do with what I got, right? All right, let's get rolling. All right, we're gonna chop this field up in half. There's a driving path there. I'm gonna do this side and then I'll do that side next, but it's like it starts right up here. This is what we don't want. When this starts going to seed, you see how that is? This seed begins to come off and it blows off in the wind. 10 to 20,000 seeds spreads. And all of a sudden, before you know it, it takes over your whole field. This is what we're trying to prevent. Talking with the landowner, he said, this has been an ongoing thing year after year. And the way I understand it is once those seeds come off and they find themselves into the soil, they can stay dormant for up to 9 years before they start growing. Isn't that crazy? So once you start having thistles such as this, you've got to get those taken care of. The sooner, the better. Or before you know it, they'll take over your whole field. One thing I'm kind of curious to hear from you all is leave me a comment of your best way to get rid of these noxious weeds, the thistle. There's the Canadian thistle, there's the musk thistle, there's another variety of different thistles, and they all do the same thing, is they're invasive, and they will take over a person's property really, really quick. I've still got more to do on this field. This field was covered with thistle. Yes, there's a lot of rock, and there are some cactuses that you see here. Yes, in southwest Missouri. But these thistles here is what we're trying to get rid of. And I don't know, can you eat one of these? I'm not going to do it. But there's people online that says you can eat thistle. I don't know. If you eat thistle, leave a comment and let me know how it tastes. Does it taste like chicken? Anyway, well, I'm going to jump back on this four-wheeler here. Boy, I wish I had a bigger tank. But I'm making some pretty good progress with it. It's just taking some time. I'm on my 3rd tank load right now. And I've been at this for a good, probably 4 hours. Well, I think I've got most of the thistles in those 3 open areas that the landowner spoke with me about done. Now, whether I got them all or not, time will tell. So we'll come back down here in about another week or 2 and check and see which ones are wilted over, which ones are not. If you've ever had knee surgery, I never have, but they say that you're not going to be able to be on your feet for a while doing land work, like what needs to be done down here to kind of keep it maintained. I hope you kind of enjoyed the video. I know it's not necessarily what you're used to seeing on my channel, but I felt like I just needed to make a video today to show you maybe some other things that you can do to make your land better. And that is to take care of those invasive plants or those invasive species such as the thistle. Not only are they not natural to our area, but they are really, really terrible about spreading once they go to seed. So you saw my little setup. It works out really good with the little four-wheeler, and it's only a 16-gallon tank, but we were able to knock out several thistles and get them sprayed in the last few hours. I'm pretty happy about it. And the main thing is I kind of felt bad, even though I really don't offer this kind of service in my land work business, but I saw the dire need on this gentleman's face whenever we spoke about his thistles and how he was concerned that they were going to be even worse if they don't get taken care of. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure you let us know. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next land video. Catch you all later. Bye-bye.
The land guy's got your back. Dirt roads, ponds, done with pride. Call him up, he's on your side.